people. Today I'm going to tell you all about Black Wednesday 1992 and how George Soros made $1 billion, or actually pounds I should say, off the British government and beating them in the foreign exchange market. So you might think, how can one single person make 1 billion trading against the government? Well, to know how that works, I'm going to have to explain a few things. I'm going to explain how the market works, what is different with today, and what eventually led to the situation where George Soros managed to gain £1 billion. First, back in the day, the euro didn't exist. Every country in Europe had their own currency. For example, the British had the pound, the Germans had the mark, and the Dutch had the gulden. So nowadays, when countries have different countries, they let the currency float freely. That means that the market decides on how much a currency is worth. A currency can become worth more depending, for example, on the interest rate. If the interest rate is high, many people want to, save their money. For example, let's say that the interest rate is higher in Germany than in the UK. That means people want to shift their money to Germany to, profit of the higher interest rate because they can earn more money on their savings. They will swap out Deutsche Marks for British pounds, which in turn drives up the demand for Deutsche Marks, increasing the price, which increases or appreciates the exchange rates vis-a-vis the British pound. So that's how the market goes. Market way goes, the freely floating exchange rates. But how does it go before that? Because countries didn't want their currencies to float freely. They wanted to fix the exchange rates. They wanted to have control about it. So how did they do it? Well, they let the central bank interfere in the market. They made sure that the central bank bought a lot of their own currency. For example, the currency was sliding, devaluing, becoming worth less and less. Then the government doesn't want this. They would intervene in the market and they would let the central bank buy more of their own currency so that the price would go up back again. So the Dutch government stepped into an agreement with the other countries, called the ERM, where they fixed the exchange rate. They were like, okay, we need to keep the British pound at a certain level against the Deutsche Mark, 1.7337. If the currency was ever might be able to go below that, they would have to immediately step in and make sure that the price of the British pound had risen again. But George Soros didn't agree with that number of 1.7. He thought the number was too high. He thought the British pound was worth less than that actually. He said, it's not true, He said, well, why did he say that? He had some good reasons. Interest rates were higher in Germany. Productivity was slowing down in the UK. Actually, the UK was not doing as well as it is doing in the years after that. Inflation was higher. There were all kinds of reasons that he believed that the pound was not worth as much as the bottom line that they set. He believed that the true market price was below 1.7 and that the market would always force the price to go below that, even if the central bank tried to intervene. So he went short. Short is when you make a bet that the price will fall, and he kept going short, and a lot of currency traders agreed with him and also went short, and they sold their pounds because they were scared that the pound would go down, because they thought George Soros was right. The Bank of England intervened and tried everything in their power to stop the fall of the pound, but they couldn't do enough. They even tried raising the interest rate, but that was not enough. In the end, George Soros has won. The peg, which means the fixed part, how much the pound is worth, it was broken. He broke. They couldn't keep it there. The market rate went down, and because he went short, he made a lot of money. He bet on the market, on the pound going down. It did, and it gave him €1 billion. So this is, of course, debatable. Some people say it's not ethical because he took the money from the government. Others say, yeah, it's just, saying what the market is trying to say, and he was right. The pound wasn't worth that much, and the other market participants agreed with him. I think it's a fascinating topic. I think it's really cool. George Soros is one of the most hated men in the world. For all is also philanthropy, his background, his race. But I think this is really cool because it shows him that he was also just, a really smart guy, and that he was able to see the economic fundamentals where they are, and that the market don't lie, and that you always have to look at the fundamentals to see what is going on in the market. And if that's what I think we can learn from George Soros today. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.